All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to talk about how your team is about to get a whole lot bigger and way smarter without hiring a single person. How? Well, we're talking about Salesforce's new AI teammates. These are a suite of agents designed to work right alongside every single team in your company, and they are set to completely change how work gets done. Let's dig in and see how.
This quote from Salesforce gets right to the heart of a problem that pretty much every business feels deep down. It's this tangled web of processes that lives between having a brilliant idea and actually seeing revenue from it. This messy middle, it's the one area that should unite a business, but instead it's usually where all the pain and inefficiency comes from. And that right there, that's the problem these new AI teammates were built to solve.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start by really untangling that messy middle. Then we'll look at the actual blueprint for these new AI agents. After that, we'll see them in action, right in the middle of the revenue cycle. We'll also cover the super important rules for managing them. And finally, we'll talk about what it all means when, suddenly, your team gets a whole lot bigger. Okay, let's spend just another moment on this messy middle, because it's so important. It isn't just about being inefficient. It's a genuine barrier to growth. I mean, think about it. When your quoting system doesn't talk to your billing system, and neither of them are connected to your customer support data, well, the customer's nowhere near the center of what you're doing, right? This isn't just a tech problem. It's a fundamental revenue problem. And this is exactly where Agentforce comes into the picture. Now, this isn't just another app or another point solution. It's a totally new kind of AI teammate that's built right into the Salesforce platform itself. So to really get a handle on their power, we need to break them down and see how they're built, starting with the different jobs they can do. So your new teammates are specialists. You've got the sales agent, which helps you reps build out complex quotes in just minutes. Then there's the service agent, who's on the front lines handling all those common support issues. You've also got the employee agent for streamlining internal stuff. And the big one we'll focus on is the revenue agent, who works across that entire messy middle, connecting everything from the very first quote to the final payment.
At the heart of every single one of these agents is its brain, the reasoning engine. This engine can take a simple request, something like create a quote, and then it orchestrates all the complicated actions needed to make it happen. But here's the thing. For an AI to handle critical business tasks, its reasoning can't be random. It absolutely has to be guided by safe, consistent instructions.
So how do you give it those safe instructions? Well, the first tool in the toolbox is something called variables. Just think of these as secure little memory slots. When an agent verifies a customer, for example, it can store the customer ID in a variable. Now that piece of data is locked in, it's protected, and it's ready to be passed to the next action without any risk of the AI, getting creative and changing it on its own. And the second tool is filters. So if variables are the secure memory, then you can think of filters as the security guards. A filter uses a variable to check if a certain condition is met before it allows an action to move forward. For instance, a filter can check, hey, is the customer actually verified before it lets the create booking action run? It's a simple but incredibly powerful logic gate. So putting it all together creates this amazing loop of what we call deterministic logic. It's really predictable. First, an action returns a value, like true or false. Second, that value gets locked into a secure variable. And third, a filter checks that variable before letting the next step happen. This simple little process guarantees that your critical business rules are followed 100% of the time, every single time. Okay, that's enough theory. Let's see how this blueprint actually works in the real world. We're going to put these AI teammates to work in one of the most complex areas of any business, the revenue lifecycle, which you might know as quote to cash. This is the modern revenue journey. Right? It all starts with CPQ. That stands for Configure Price Quote, which is where a deal gets structured. From there, it moves to orchestrating the order, then managing the customer's assets over time so you know what they own, and finally, handling the billing. Agentforce is designed to put a smart agent at every single one of these stages.
Okay, so imagine you're a sales rep. Instead of clicking through, a dozen different screens to find products, add them to a quote, and then manually apply discounts, you just type this. You literally have a conversation with your AI teammate, telling it exactly what you need in plain English.
And boom, just like that, it's done. A process that probably used to take hours of tedious, painstaking work is now finished in seconds. And this isn't just about saving time, you guys. This is about gaining a massive competitive edge. I mean, one customer reported a 90% reduction in their quote cycle time. That's what this looks like in practice. Now let's jump all the way to the end of the cycle. A customer has a question about a charge on our invoice. This is a super common thing that can tie up your finance and support teams for ages. But instead of digging through a bunch of spreadsheets, the user just asks the billing agent for an explanation.
And instantly, the agent accesses all the usage data, it pulls up the pricing rules, does the math, and gives a perfectly clear, simple answer. A customer issue that could have turned into days of back-and-forth emails is resolved on the spot. This is what it means to have a connected system with an intelligent agent working right on top of it. Of course, giving an AI this much power requires some serious guardrails. I mean, you wouldn't hire a new employee and give them the keys to the entire kingdom on day one, right? The exact same principle applies here. So, what are the rules for managing your new AI teammates?
Okay, the most important rule is this. Treat your AI agent just like any new user. It gets its very own user record, and you must, I repeat, must start with the absolute bare minimum level of access. Only grant more permissions when they are explicitly required for its job. This is called the principle of least privilege, and it is the absolute foundation of AI agent security.
And this brings us right back to why variables and filters are so critical. They enforce that deterministic, predictable logic. When an agent is handling a financial transaction, you need a consistent, rule-based outcome. You simply cannot risk an unguided large language model hallucinating, or, just making up a discount or messing with private data. This is the key difference between a fun chatbot you play with and a business-critical AI agent you rely on.
Ultimately, this is the whole philosophy. These agents aren't here to replace people. They're here to elevate them. They handle the repetitive, the manual, the time-sucking tasks. They automate. And this frees up the humans, the sales reps, the ops teams, the finance experts, to do what they do best: lead, strategize, and build real customer relationships. So when you put it all together, the impact is, well, it's profound. This isn't about just one department getting a cool new tool. This is about every single employee, from sales to service to finance, getting a powerful new teammate who is dedicated to making them faster, smarter, and just plain better at their jobs.
And really, that's the big question this technology leaves us with. If your new AI teammate can instantly build the quote, explain the invoice, and manage the entire process, if it handles the how, what new possibilities open up when your people finally have more time to focus on the why? Why is this the right deal for our customer? Why is this the best strategy for our business? That's the real transformation we're talking about. Thanks for tuning in.